Hello and welcome to the demonstration of Sarah Milner's MSc project, which was to connect up a brand new smartwatch to its paired smartphone. Here we have a smartwatch, a Galaxy Gear smartwatch and its paired Galaxy Note 3 phone. And we're going to connect it up to some fidget sliders, well, a fidget slider and a fidget motor, which is hidden behind that piece of card, and the motor is attached to this pointer thing here, which is going to serve for the demo. Okay, so I'm going to have to see my big hand quite a lot. It's still going to be a little bit wobbly, but we'll get there. Okay, so on the smartphone, which is an Android smartphone, we've got an Android app that has to run, which is called Sensor Manager. This is going to poll the server. We've got our sensors, our fidget slider and fidget motor, their status is being kept hold of by a server. So every time we change the slider or the motor, that information is sent over HTTP to the server and stored there in some variables, and immediately after the variables have been stored, the server broadcasts that information in answer to the poll that this phone has sent out. So when this is all up and running, the phone will be continuously polling the server for data, and obviously that would be very strenuous on the battery if you were trying to use this as a sort of real application. So there is the facility built into this to be able to either have this server polling switched on, or to just switch it off, and then the phone won't be communicating with the server, and that will save the battery. So we've just got this very simple user interface on the phone, and all we've got is a toggle switch that will allow us to have that server polling on or off. So press it. I pressed it enough. There we go. So it's switched to on, and a little toast comes up saying server sync started. Not that easy to see, but so the server polling should be on now. So if we go over here to our slider, which is there, if I change the slider, can't really get it all on at once, but I'm changing the slider, and that says new data received from server. So that's a toast to tell us what's going on. If I move the slider again, so that you can believe that I'm doing that. There we go. New data received from server. Right, so the phone is now just repeatedly polling the server, and every time either the slider changes or the motor changes or anything else that you want to have linked up to the server, that will the information will be sent to the phone while the server syncing is switched on. And now we come to the next bit of our system, which is feeding all that information through to the smartwatch so that somebody can get this information a little bit more immediately, something that's going to be able to get to them all the time. The idea a smartwatch, one of the ideas is that you can get updates to it and notifications to it that you're going to be able to get access to, because the watch is always on your wrist, as opposed to your phone that you might leave on the table in another room or in your bag, things like that. So we've got this smartwatch, which is sitting in its box to make it easy for me to make this video one-handed, but obviously really it would be on your wrist. So we have to rock it backwards and forwards to get it to wake up, because that's the idea of it moving around about on your wrist. So it just sometimes takes a little bit of time to wake up. So now I have to do something quickly with it before it goes to sleep again. So here I've got an app called Door Manager. The one on the phone is called Sensor Manager. The one on the The one on the watch is called Door Manager, because it's got this specific use that I've made up for this demo. So when I open that up for the first time, it's saying that connection is established with remote peer, and the same similar toasts were coming up on the phone as well, and that was showing you that there is a connection between the smartwatch and the smartphone, that they are sort of able to communicate with each other. So what we've got here, I'll just press that by accident. So in this Door Manager we've just got three simple choices on this large user interface. So we've got a sensor log. Oops, I've just taken it off again. That gives you a chance to see the toast come up again. Okay, so we've got a sensor log, a door chooser, and something that says stop door alerts. So if I press stop door alerts, that actually just completely shuts down the application. And that's why if I've pressed that, when I open up the application again, it brings up these toasts to say that it's connected to the phone, because it's completely restarting. Whereas if I just swipe away, you can navigate away by just swiping downwards on these smartwatches. If I now go back into the application, because I just swiped away, I didn't actually close it by pressing stop door alerts. So it was running in the background all the time now. So if you just want to sort of keep this running in the background so that the communication between the phone and the watch is happening, then you can just swipe away, just as long as you don't press that bottom. That bottom choice. Okay. Right. So let's see if we can get some communication going on. So now I'm going to move the slider, and hopefully what you could hear was a buzzing sound and a little tinkly bell sound. So what that was the door alert going off on the watch, which was a vibrate, so the watch actually vibrated, so if that was on somebody's wrist they would feel that, and that little tinkly sound. Obviously if you're in a very loud environment you wouldn't hear that necessarily, but you would feel the vibrate because it's right on your wrist. So the idea is that by having those two functions, you're definitely going to get this alert. And it was decided that you would want this alert rather than it just being a notification that appears sort of in the background so you can find it whenever you decide to look at your watch. I wanted to add that vibrate because this is the demo of this is that it is as if somebody is trying to get in at the door. Somebody wants to be let in at the door. So say for somebody who is who's a little bit mobility impaired and it's difficult for them to keep going and answering the door, then the idea is that they can tell who is at the door and they can decide whether they want to let them in or just ignore them. So just have to keep trying to wake this up again. So every time I wake it up, unless I dismiss this alert, it's just staying there, as you can see. If I let the watch go back to sleep, which it does very quickly, as you can see, then just by moving the wrist, then the alert is there. It's quite large text again, so that it's easy to see at a glance that it's a door alert, and it brings through the time, and that's the time, hours, minutes and seconds, and it's telling you who is at the door, and that person at the door is Markle. And I'll explain that name in a second. Okay, so we've got two choices, just in line with a sort of standard user interface. We've got, on the right hand side you can do something, or on the left hand side you can dismiss. So that's usually the way around it is. If you want to cancel something, get rid of it, then that option is usually on the left, and to actually do something would be the right hand option. So that's just going with a standard user interface. So if we want to dismiss, then two notifications came through, so I had to dismiss both of them, and then that's just got us back to where we were before. So if I completely come out of this now and go back just to, that's the home screen where there's just a clock and a temperature. If I let that go back to sleep again, and then move my slider to send another notification. There you go, another notification. As you can see, it doesn't wake the watch up because it's probably thinking, well, you don't really need it to flash because you're not necessarily going to be sitting staring at your watch. So the fact that it has vibrated on your arm, you then move your arm, and that will wake it up so you can see what the notification was. So again, it's Markle at the door. This time, the time is a little bit later, if you can remember what time it was before. So this time, let's press the options. Okay, so this options has taken us straight into the door chooser. That was one of the options from the main menu. It disappears if you don't use it very quickly. Okay, so we've got some options in our door chooser: Kingsbury, Market Chipping, Port Haven, Howell's Childhood, and the Waste. Now again, keeping that large user interface from before, and it's a bit difficult to see, but those options are separated by faint lines, which you can see if you were closer to it and not on a video. So if you bear in mind these options and then look to the other element of the demo, which is a piece of card with the pointer from a fidget motor poked through the middle of the piece of card, and the options on the piece of card match the options in the door chooser. So now we come to the rationale behind all these names. This comes from the film and book Howl's Moving Castle, in which there is a magic castle which has a magic door, and a sort of pointer next to the door turns round and it actually changes colour, and depending on what the pointer is pointing to, when the door opens, it will open into these different places. It's a bit like a magic portal, you know, you just bog standard magic portal that you may or may not have on your castle. So, the idea being, for this demonstration, just to make it sort of straightforward to see that the motor is doing what it's supposed to do, is if we press one of the options, let's try Market Chipping. Can I press it from here? Yep. And hopefully you could see that moved the pointer to point to Market Chipping. So, obviously just a demo of how it works. So the waist at the bottom, let's try that. Again, another place in Howl's Moving Castle. There we go. More to do with me not being able to press it whilst holding a video camera. Okay, so hopefully you are convinced that when I press a particular choice of my door chooser, the pointer will point to the associated place on my physical door chooser, my piece of card with the motor. Okay, so that's the full link up, because we've got the slider. I'm going to move the slider. Make everything up a bit. There we go. When I move the slider, we get an alert. You want to respond to that alert, press the options button, get the door chooser, press the place you want, swipe it away if you want to, get rid of it. And then what we're demonstrating here is that the door chooser does work independently of receiving a notification. So if somebody decides that they want to open a particular door in their house, they can just open up the door manager on their watch and go to the door chooser independently, and it will work. So you don't have to wait for somebody to knock on the door before you can open one of your doors. You can actually open your own doors, which is a good thing. Okay, and the last thing to show is the sensor log, which is added just to show that we can actually see the position of the motor in degrees and the slider position. So if the motor has just been moved, as I have just been doing, then it shows you where the motor's been being moved to. So we've got a time and the position that the motor was moved to. And then the slider position says not set, because when the motor was being moved, the slider wasn't being moved at the same time. So it's giving you information about whether the slider's been moved or the motor's just been moved, and where they've been moved to. It also gives you the time, little timestamp as well, and the most recent addition, the most recent sensor movement has been put to the top. So if you just want to have a look at what's just been going on, you've got the most recent things have been added to the top, and obviously then the least recent at the bottom, and it only stores 10 pieces of information. Then it gets rid of the least recent one, so you've only ever got 10 to look through. Okay, so we can swipe away from there. So if I try, just go back in. So again, the slider position is not set, the motor position is at a particular value, 110. So if I get rid of that and then move the slider. Now this time it's howl at the door. So if I dismiss that away and go back into the sensor log, now what you can see is that the slider position has changed. We've now got the actual slider position as a value, and the motor position says not set, because what we just did then was move the slider and not the motor. Okay, so that's to give you some information to show you where this slider actually is and where the motor actually is, as opposed to the sort of shop front of the demo that I've put on it, which is putting people's names as coming to the door. Instead of the slider position, I've replaced that with the person's name. So what I've done is I've just chosen characters from Howl's Moving Castle. Howl is one of them. And if I go, I can get further down. The Witch of the Waste is at the door if we go further down the slider. And then Markle is at the door if we go that way. And then eventually I get further enough to this end, it's Sophie at the door instead. Okay, so again that was just a way of demoing the fact that if you were trying to use this for real, just trying to give this a sort of a useful feel rather than just knowing the slider position, you could have this set up so that a certain slider position represents a certain person being at the door, so that if somebody is having to decide whether to let somebody in or not, and they can't get up to see them, to see through the door, then this is the idea, is that you can find out who is at the door from the watch, and then you can decide whether you want to let them in or not. Okay. Well, hopefully that made reasonable sense. Thank you for listening.